Good evening. Thank you for coming to the regular board meeting this evening. In President Miranda's absence, I, as Vice President, will guide the meeting tonight. It's 6:30 on Monday, July the 24th, 2017. And I'd like to call the meeting of the Winton City School Board of Education to order. Of course, I want to request that you place your cell phone on vibrate or silence, and please rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Seymour, if you would please call the roll, please.
Mrs. Coon?
Here.
Mrs. Douglas?
Here.
Mr. Birdie?
Here.
Dr. Johnson?
Here.
And of course, Mrs. Miranda's absent.
Yes. And we don't have any public comments tonight. So the next or first item on our agenda is the approval of minutes, and board, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as listed or as presented.
Second.
Okay. It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Coon?
Aye.
Mrs. Douglas?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. The motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the 4.01, the Treasurer's Report. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
All right. For the year ended in the general fund, we're very pleased to say that we increased our cash balance by $1 million. And this was basically due to the fact that we had a budget savings of $4.4 million over your original appropriation. And we also received additional revenues above projection from a 5-year settlement from Medicaid, some increased tuition, and investment income for the year. So we ended the year in the general fund with $19 million. All the funds, for all funds, we had a cash balance of, it sounds like a lot, but $148 million, of which the 19 was the general fund, $65 million in bond retirement, which we no longer have. The notes were paid off today. So now our bond retirement reflects about $3 million. We paid off the $61.5 million worth of notes. And a building fund of $10 million, and then of course our classroom facilities at $51.5. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, but that's the summary.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or discussion for Mr. Seymour? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we will submit the financial statements as presented for file for audit. And the next item on the agenda, Mr. Seymour, is back to you for 5.01, the Treasurer's Recommendation and Investments.
For the month of June, the district earned $132,000 in interest, ranging from rates of 0.02 to 1.1. And I would also like to add that investments for the year totaled $341,000. So having a bond issue helps generate additional resources until you spend those dollars.
Yeah, until you spend them, right? Of course. Okay. Board, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the investment report as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion that you'd have for Mr. Seymour? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Coon?
Aye.
Mrs. Douglas?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. Okay, next up is the, thank you, Mr. Seymour, that was a unanimous vote. Get you noted that. Next up is the reports of the superintendent. And Superintendent Smith, you have the floor for 6.01 school reports.
Yes, Madam Vice President and Board. During agenda critique, the board president and vice president asked if we would do something a little different, and so we're attempting to do that. we're going to actually try to give you the monthly report or the monthly updates a month in advance so that you will be able to attend some of those functions. So that's why you see August now for a July opportunity. So we're going to keep trying to do that, and hopefully it works out. One of the major pieces is convocation starts at 8:30 on August 11th, and our first day of school for students is August 15th. If you are interested, and I hope that you are, please attend the preschool and kindergarten jumpstart so you can see our future warriors in action. I think Mrs. Denny and Miss Darcy have done an excellent job getting the kids ready for their new experience. And there'll be a special treat. There'll be this guy reading Brown Bear to the students. I won't tell you who he is, but you might know him. Okay. So that's going to happen August 1st and 2nd, and we're just excited. So the other pieces to the report are just regular open houses and staff in services.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith. The next item on the agenda, I'm sorry.
I do have a question.
Yes, please, I'm sorry.
The elementary doesn't have the time of their event on the, if you can let us know what time, I think it's the, I gotta look it up.
Back to school celebration?
Yes.
Okay, I will do it.
Okay, thank you.
That's the jump start you're asking about?
No, it's the
That's
elementary.
oh, okay.
I'll make sure I get that to you.
Thank you.
All right. That's the program that we have a mystery guest reading?
No, ma'am.
Oh,
That's no.
I'm just trying to keep all our,
I didn't call him a mystery guest. He's a mysterious guest.
a mysterious
A
guest,
little
okay.
different, yeah.
Either one is still, okay. Okay, next up is 7.01, Superintendent's recommendations, the job description for the publicity writer.
Yes, I am going to have Mrs. Cleary stand up and give her, I won't even say it because I'll tear up again, but I'm going to have her give her intro of the newly found publicity writer. And believe it or not, just to let you know, Ms. Jackson, usually there are more people here, dear. So it has nothing to do with the transition. Usually it's thousands of people here.
Thousands, but yeah, there's a few more.
Okay.
Board, it's my privilege tonight to introduce you to Drew Jackson, who, pending your approval, is our recommendation for the new publicity writer for Winton Woods City Schools. She comes to us with strong news writing capabilities as well as videography skills, which is a great addition to the communications team. We're working really hard to set her up for success, and we're going to be doing some training and some shadowing this summer to make sure that Drew just has all the tools that she needs to do this job effectively, that she knows who it is to contact, and just do the best she can. And I'd like her to come up after your vote to be able to tell you guys a little bit about herself, because she's very interesting.
You want to do it? Okay. Should we vote on it first? Okay, can you wait and come back in a little bit? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll come back in just a few minutes. Okay. Let's thank you, Mrs. Cleary, for that introduction. Board, a motion is in order for the job description for the publicity writer.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the job description for the publicity writer as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion about the job description that you've read? Okay, if not, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. That motion passes unanimously for the publicity writer. And then we're going to move on into 7.02. Or should we come up now? All right, so you can come up now and have something to say. Okay, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Smith, and thank you for this opportunity. So like mentioned, my name is Drew Jackson. I'm a Bowling Green State University alum. There I majored in telecommunications and journalism, In the past year, I worked on the Fast and Furious 8 set. I was a digital content producer for a news station, and I worked for the Reds production team. I'm just really excited and looking forward to working with the staff and students and engaging with the community here. And I'm looking forward to moving into the Winton Woods district. So, go Warriors. Thank you.
As she stands there with Princeton colors on.
That's okay. I do it all the time. I do it all the
Warriors.
time. I'm always
Go Warriors,
under
Miss
it.
Jackson. Way to go. Work with her, Miss Denny.
You get a pass for
Yeah.
one time
Get some blue and
pass.
green in that wardrobe. That's okay. She'll get it.
See, usually I'll make a comment. They don't jump in. They jump in on that one. Absolutely.
Mrs. Jackson, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 7.02, the approval of the exempt employee salary schedule. Mr. Smith, you're going to present that for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the recommendation is to approve the exempted employee salary schedule effective July 1st, 2017 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. The board of motion to approve the exempt employee salary schedule is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the exempt employee salary schedule effective July 1st, 2017 as presented.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions with regards to the salary schedule? All right, seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Douglas?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the personnel schedules, 7.03. And Mr. Smith, you have the floor again.
Yes, Madam Vice President of the Board, the recommendation is to approve the salary schedules effective July 24th, 2017.
Board of motion is in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions regarding the personnel schedules? All right, seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Douglas?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye. The motion passes unanimously. Next up is 7.04, the revised policy 2464 program for gifted education and identification. Mr. Smith, back to you.
Yes, Madam Vice President of the Board, excuse me. The law states that we have to have 2464 gifted education and identification, and part of the requirement has around superior cognitive ability and specific academic ability in one or more of the following content areas: mathematics, science, reading, writing, or a combination of these skills, social studies, critical thinking ability, visual or performing arts such as drawing, painting, sculpturing, music, dance, or drama. So ODE says that the testing is not necessarily a fundamental that says you have to be gifted in every area, and in most cases many kids are not, but they're gifted in a particular one. The project-based learning opportunities that students have actually gives us a great advantage to really find out kids' giftedness as well as their strengths in academic areas, because they get a chance to showcase everything. So this is a good thing for us, and the recommendations to approve revised policy 2454, students' gifted education and identification.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board of motion is in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the revised policy 2454, the program regarding gifted education and identification as presented.
Second?
Okay, it was 2464.
Yes.
Yeah, you said 54.
Oh, I did say the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's okay. Just a point of clarification.
2464?
2464.
Okay, I was reading off.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
there's a little bit.
There's a correction that
Sorry.
we need to make in our
Yeah, it was
minutes.
2464.
Okay, it is 2464. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Kuhn and Mrs. Douglas. It has been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion of this policy? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you call the vote?
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnston?
Aye.
Now I see.
That motion passes unanimously. Okay, the next one we come up on, Mr. Smith, is back to you for 7.05, the Code of Conduct for school years 2017 and 18.
Yes, there are not many changes, Madam Vice President, but I'd like the public to understand that we're very diligent in our work as it relates to our code of conduct. So the first one is to be respectful. Students are expected to treat all others, peers, staff members, community members with respect and dignity at all times. Be responsible. Students are expected to be responsible for their actions at all times. And finally, be safe. Students are expected to abide by all guidelines to ensure that a safe environment is maintained. And so the recommendation is to approve the Code of Conduct for school year 2017-18 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion is in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Code of Conduct for school year 2017-18 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been seconded, it's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion regarding the Student Code of Conduct?
Just, it is a very thorough document
Yeah.
as far as what it covers, and I like the be respectful, be responsible, be safe. I mean, that just, if the students do those things, we should be in pretty good shape.
Yes.
So, thank you.
I also like to note that in this document, it does explicitly define the terms, and I think that helps to take away any question of what it's meant by certain terms that might be used when it's talking about disciplinary action, and there's definition of terms all the way through, so I appreciate that in this document.
And it also supports, it's one thing when we say we want, what is our culture? How do we, what culture, who are we? It matches and it aligns, the document aligns with
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Board. Mr. Seymour, would you call the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnston?
Aye. Okay, that motion passes unanimously as well. Again, Mr. Smith, to you for 7.07, the resolution adopting the makeup plan for excess hours above the minimum required.
Madam Vice President.
Skip that one?
7.6.
Oh, I skipped 7.06. Oh, I'm sorry, I sure did. 7.06, there's another one. 7.06, the dress code now for the school year 2017-18.
Yes, Madam Vice President and Board. I want the Board to be very mindful of this one because there are regular occurrences where students will be out of uniform. And I wanted the Board to not think that we were just negligent in our responsibilities. Basically, when students are presenting, especially in PBL experiences, they will be out of uniform for different occasions, depending on who the public is and what presentations are taking place. So we expect them to have a dressier attire that may not have Winton Woods logo and some of the other things attached to it. The other thing is the principals. We did a test case this past year where the principals had the opportunity to have kids wear more spirit wear, and it was able to stay within the guidelines of our uniform policy, so it worked out very, very well. Less students getting sent to ASA for uniform violations, and more students staying in the class, which is really where they need to be. So the recommendation is to approve the dress code for school year 2017-18 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the dress code for school year 2017-18 as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion?
Just one thing I wanted to point out, it would be maybe to our booster groups or different ways that we can offer our students more opportunities for school-sponsored spirit wear. I think that's huge opportunity for our booster groups to feed into that support of our schools. It gives them a chance to earn maybe some monies for their worthwhile programs. And I hope that there's opportunities for parents across the board, not just in high school, but down to the kindergarten levels, to have access to some spirit wear that the school district benefits from directly, not necessarily Myers or Kroger's or some other
I agree.
entity where we can benefit directly, where
Good
students
point.
do.
Thank you, Mrs. Kuhn. Anybody else? Okay, with no further discussion, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Kuhn,
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
Dr. Johnson.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously. I was really eager to get to this one for some reason, 7.07, so now we're here. The resolution adopting the makeup plan for excess hours above the minimum required hours for school year 2017-18.
Yes, Madam Vice President, the resolution reads, whereas the Winton City School District Board of Education desires students have learning opportunities even when schools are closed for any of the reasons specified in Section 3313.482 of the Ohio Revised Code, and whereas Section 3313.482 authorizes the Board of Education to file annual plans with the Ohio Department of Education by August 1st of each year to provide learning opportunities for students in lieu of attendance in such days of closure. Now therefore be it resolved that Winton City Schools Board of Education hereby approves the following plan and authorizes its filing with the Ohio Department of Education. In addition to that, Board, we noticed that even though students have the one-to-one devices, the technology, some of the students may not have the other part, which means they don't have a way to run the device. So we put there's another modification in the plan that says, in the event that there's snow days, students would have the opportunity to make up the work based on pencil paper, if that's all they had the availability to use. So we have to make sure, even though we provide Chromebooks and some of the other electronic devices, students still need to have this other opportunity to make sure that their lessons are turned in. And it would be sort of a 2-week window to get that done.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board of motion would be in order.
Madam President, Vice President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution adopting the makeup plan for excess hours above the minimum required hours for the upcoming school year 2017-2018.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion?
No, I think it's a great opportunity in the event. Fortunately, the last few years we've been fairly lucky on bad weather. Hopefully that streak will continue on. But it is nice to have that backup plan so that kids are at home and the students still have an opportunity to make good use of that time.
Yeah. Good. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no other discussion, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Kuhn,
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
Dr. Johnson.
Aye. That motion passes unanimously. And again, to you, Mr. Smith, for the last agenda item for you, 7.08.
Okay, bus bid award for fiscal year 2018. Before Mr. Denny comes up, I just want the board to recognize that Mr. Denny is very diligent in his assignment and his task about bus bidding. He rejected all of the bids that were connected to having GPS on buses. You know, we are in a 12-mile radius. You know, people would have thought that that would be a great luxury to have, but there's a cost associated with it. So I appreciate you not adding GPS systems to our fleet. I don't think our drivers get lost often. I think there will be like 50 kids on the bus telling them you turned the wrong way. So thank you, Mr. Denny. You want to come up and just give a quick overview?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Good evening, Board. You should have before you for this agenda item several pieces of documentation. First of which is a memo addressed to the Board just outlining the reasons for the request and how it's aligned to Board policy and state law. Secondly, you should see a bid tab that shows the initial bid results of the 3 vendors that did supply bids for the bus purchase. This year we were only buying 72 passenger buses. That's what the need for the fleet was this year. So the next page you should see is actually a bid analysis that shows the options that are included or excluded and the alternate bids that we accepted or didn't accept. And that all has to be factored in and costed out to show what's the actual value of the bid. As you can see from that particular form, Rush Bus Centers, which sells international buses, both bodies and chassis, were the winner, or the lowest, most complete price. And then you'd see basically a letter to the firm acknowledging that they had the lowest, most responsible bid, pending the outcome and decision of this board tonight as to whether or not they'd be awarded the bid. So happy to entertain any questions you might have at this time, but I would like to request the board's favorable consideration and approval of Rush Bus Centers for the 2018 fiscal year bus purchases.
Thank you, Mr. Denny. Board, let's put the motion on the floor and then we'll discuss it. So can we get a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the bus bid award for fiscal year 2018 for school bus purchases as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded, and if anybody has any questions for Mr. Denny, entertain those now.
No, I don't have any questions for him. I just like the way you laid this out
Yeah.
because it does, I mean, it highlights the pricing as well as the adherence to the specs that you asked for. So, it lays it out pretty well.
Thank you. Good.
I was going to offer the same conclusion. It made it very easy to read, very easy to digest, to take that information. And so I appreciate the ease of presentation.
Very good. Thank you.
The only other thing I'd like to add to that is, I guess I appreciate the fact that you do keep our fleet
Yes.
up and in good running, so that when we do have bad weather or we have, extenuating circumstances, we're not shaking and quaking. I mean, we still go down to check. I'm sure you still, lose a little sleep on some of them, but you've kept our fleet up, and I always get the question that somebody will ask me, why don't you all just use First Student or some of the other, contracted bus services? And I'm glad to say that you keep our fleet up, running and in good shape, and that we can use our own buses to take our kids around.
Appreciate that.
And I appreciate that as a board member. So, okay.
That's
Anything
definitely a team effort.
Yeah,
So
I'm
thank
sure
you.
we all appreciate that.
Thanks to all of you.
Yeah. All right, is there anything else that anybody would like to ask Mr. Denny? Okay, seeing that there is no other discussion, Mr. Seymour, could you please call the vote?
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
And Dr. Johnson?
Aye. Okay, we made it, Mr. Smith. It's quite a few. The next item on the agenda is the Board of Education report, specifically 8.01, the legislative report. And since President Miranda is out, I would like to bring to the board's attention the fact that the state has made major changes to the graduation requirements for the class of 2018. And I've placed a copy of that article on everyone's desk. Actually, this was reported through the Dayton Daily News on July the 1st, 2017, and specifically the second page of this. If you want to go out and look at it, you can. I've got the URL there, but the second page of this kind of lays out what the changes are. But it might also be noted that this is just for 2018. So I don't know. I mean, they might come back and say we're going to extend it into 2000. We don't know what the state's plan is, but it's good for us to know as board members, just because someone might come up and say, well, hey, my students started in the 9th grade with this graduation requirement, or they came here in the 10th grade and they had this graduation requirement. Now they're getting ready to graduate in 2018, and here's a new. We don't make that change. We just have to live by it through what the state mandates. So this article can be found. The title of the article, if anybody out there wants to go look, it says, State Makes Major Changes to Graduation Requirements for Class of 2018. So there's a couple other side articles that are attached to that were worth reading. I read them. They were pretty good reads. Just so that you know that that's what's going on now.
Madam
Okay.
Vice President,
Yeah.
the other piece to that, the state was projecting a 70% graduation rate across the state. Means 30% of those kids would not have made it unless they made the changes.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's in this article as well. So that, it does talk about that. And it talks about the end of the course exams. It talks about all those things. So it's a good read. It's worth reading and you know, keeping our, being aware of this, because someone is liable to ask you, I mean, for sure, especially if they got a graduate in 2018, you know. So it looks like it's a good change, but sometimes you just never know. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 8.02, the Great Oaks Career Technical Center report, and Mr. Birdie has left something on the table for us, and Mr. Birdie, you have the floor.
Yeah, for each of you, I've given you a copy of the spotlight on the students that comes from Great Oaks and highlighted the Winton Woods students that are in there, the Shelby McKinney, we got a Jasmine Moran, Margaret Greedy, and Cameron Mills is noted in there, as well as some legislative information, which kind of goes in line with what you were talking about as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Birdie. Okay, the next item on our agenda is 9.01, board motions and recommendations. I don't have anything. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to present? And we're just going to move over. The next item is going to be moved to the August meeting. So we've moved right through this stuff real swiftly, and I appreciate that. So we're at agenda item number 10, which is comments from members of the Board of Education. And Mrs. Ruggles, we'll start with you.
I have no comments at this time.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ruggles. Mrs. Birdie, do you have it? Mr. Birdie, I'm sorry. Say, no, I'm really not. I'm not my wife, okay?
She's not here, I don't
She's
think.
not here.
No, I just want to highlight the convocation. Really looking forward to that on the 11th. The Jumpstart days that are going on at kindergarten. I think those are fantastic for the kids to get acclimated to what's going on. And then there's a back to school cookout at the high school on August 8th. So
Sure.
those are great things. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. Mrs. Kuhn?
I also wanted to express my appreciation for the early forecast of what to come up as far as the events. That makes it a lot easier for our public to know and for us to be able to become involved. And kind of excited because my granddaughter is going to be attending Winton Woods. So my daughter's moving. She's going to register next week. So I get to go to Kindergarten Jumpstart as not only as a school board but as a grandparent. So
Bravo.
Yeah.
so I'm very excited. So I encourage all of our community to register your kids early. Get ready for this session. Don't miss this Jumpstart, Kindergarten Jumpstart. It's a great opportunity. We've got a lot of smart kids out there. We want to put them to work. So.
Yeah, along that lines, I got a grandson who's also going to be attending preschool.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah,
How
really
exciting
looking forward
is
to
that?
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
That is exciting. Well,
Oh, and one other thing. Look
Yeah.
for those signs in the yard that say kindergarten future or kindergarten warrior or kindergarten sign up. So just be aware that that's going on right now. It's very exciting as a young parent in our community. This is an ideal time to get your child involved. You have a lot of great events that will be coming up with new schools that will be on the horizon. So what better way to get your child started into our curriculum at an early age? So preschool, I think, fills up and has waiting lists. So we have a lot to offer. So I'm really excited. But get your sign for your kindergartner and put it in your yard. So
that sign says, "I am a Winton Woods kindergarten warrior."
Yes.
Yeah, so cool, cool. That is kind of a wonderful kind of feeling to know that your kid is getting to, your grandkid is getting to come to the school district. I had that experience with my son when he graduated, to hand him his diploma. That's like a feeling that I'll never feel again, but it was absolutely amazing, okay? Anyway, I digress. But we got time to digress. What's up, you know? So anyway, I just want to continue to thank everybody always and appreciate what you do for our district, those of you who work on behalf of our district, and just to continue to say thank you. We're looking forward to what Mr. Smith has up his sleeve for convocation. I always keep raising the bar, you know.
It's not Mr. Smith, it's Denzel.
Oh, okay, well, whatever, whoever you are when you do your thing. So, anyway, we're looking forward to that. It just starts off the year on a very, very positive note. It's exciting. The energy that people walk out of there with, it just carries them through at least the first month or so of school. They feel like they have wings when they leave there. So it's a great event. And the same thing with the Jump Start for the kindergartners.
Absolutely.
It speaks to what Mrs. Ruggles was saying. It's showing that we're building a new culture here. And if you just get on board with us, it has momentum. It has a life. And it's breathing and it's moving. So it's just really exciting kind of times. Mr. Seymour, do you have anything you want to share with us? No. He says no. Mr. Smith?
No.
No, neither one
Can
of
I say
them.
one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Cleary just for
Absolutely.
helping transition Drew Jackson to us, and appreciate all your hard work. So thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. We do appreciate all that you do for us, and that
Everything.
you'll probably continue to do with the mentoring and everything else. I don't see anyone here for the Winton Woods Teachers Association or the Ohio School Public School Employees Representative. So I believe, Board, there is a need for an executive session. So if someone would make that motion for us to move into executive session.
Yes, I will make a motion to move into executive session for discussion with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that are subject of pending or imminent court action.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Mr. Seymour, if you would call the vote.
Mrs. Kuhn,
Aye.
Mrs. Ruggles,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
Dr. Johns.
Aye. We will move into executive session. All minds are clear for the current meeting. I don't think we'll come back out of executive session and go back into regular session. So thank you for coming out tonight for this board meeting. And we'll call this Winton Woods City School Board of Education on Monday, July the 24th, closed. Thank you and have a good evening.